girls, welcome back to Watch the Time. So I'm really pleased to be able to bring you my first Megalith or Megalith, I don't know how you pronounce it, but you would have seen me feature this in my top 10 AliExpress sale video, and it was one that caught my attention. So they did contact me. I was having a look at their watches and they sent me over, it's a watch, obviously it's a Tissot PRX Chronograph Homage, but with the specs, the Seiko movement and stuff, I was like, for £60, this watch looks like a proper banger. So I'm really pleased to be able to bring this to your attention. If you already didn't know about it prior to my sale video, but this is the full review. If you've held off till this, you might have missed the boat in terms of pricing. But again, the pricing on this watch is so good that I think it's worthwhile for full price for £60, to be honest. But will I still feel the same by the end of the video under closer inspection with the review? Let's find out. So I do appreciate you tuning back in. I'm not going to go on for too long because you do want to see the watch and the bits and pieces that make up the watch and whether it's worthwhile. So I'll stop going, and as I say, and without further ado, let's get the camera turned around and get on with it. Hi guys and girls, so this is the watch, as I said in the intro, it's the Megalith. It's the 8388. No complicated model numbers with these ones. Pretty primitive packaging, very similar to what you get with many other watches from AliExpress. Quite a substantial pin removal, which is good. This is what I used. Nice. This feels quite heavy. Cleaning cloth. I haven't opened it. Quite small. Would like to have seen that a bit bigger actually. You use a manual, and inside I do believe that there was a. Oh, here it is. This is the instruction manual, and yeah, that's what you get. Cool. Put it all to the side. I have taken off quite a few links actually, but they are quite thin, which is probably why, as you can see, I've taken off 7 links for it to fit my wrist. Push pins, as you can see, the directional arrows on the back. Let me just put that to the side. Inner foam, which is what you get on many watches using very similar packaging. And then this is the watch. Really nice looking blue dial, as you can see. So yeah, the model number for this is the 8388. Inside this watch is running a VD57, which is a Seiko movement. I'll bring some information up about that movement now. Yeah, nice movement. Seiko do some nice chronograph movements, mecha quartz movements, and this is no different. Yeah, very reliable movement. It's nice to see in a watch that sort of comes in at £60 to see a Seiko movement, which is a rugged, reliable movement in a watch at this price point, is not to be sniffed at. The case material, so everything about this watch aside from the crystal is all 316L stainless steel, mostly brushed. So you got brushing at the side. It looks quite coarse, but it looks in keeping with the watch. You get on both sides. Looks as though they've attempted a little faceted edge, but you can't see it very well. Brush at the tops also. Brushing on the bracelet and at the sides, and as I said, just continues throughout really. So all 316L stainless steel, and the case back is also brushed with a few polished elements also. But that's the construction of the watch aside from the crystal, as I say. The case thickness of this watch is 10.3 millimeters. The case diameter, when you measure, obviously in between where the crown and the pushes are over to the other side, was coming in at 41 millimeters. And when you include the crown and the pushes, it comes in at 44.5 millimeters. The lug width on this is kind of strange to do. So it's 28, it's at the widest point where it's fitting to the side of the case, and tapers down to 20 millimeters. So yeah, nice bit of taper. Actually doesn't feel too bad. I was expecting it to be a bit more sharp, but feels fine on this model. Feels nice. And the lug to lug, a bit of a strange one again, but given the watch is homaging, they have the same issue. So at this point, at the case, it's coming in at 46.3 millimeters, but given the way the N-Link articulates to the watch case, it does come in at 52.2 millimeters. So just bear that in mind. It does downturn quite a bit, as you can see, but so it does still fit on the wrist nicely and it is comfortable. But just bear that in mind, guys. That's the lug to lug. The case back, as I've showed you already, is screwed down. It's got some information on the back. I'll just bring it up now. Yeah, 8388, as I said, the model number. Just a little bit of other information which we'll run through. Also, is stuff that we've also covered. The bezel is a high polished bezel. A nice little bit of contrast actually from the rest of the watch. So that's high polished. And the crown is situated at 3 o'clock. Just a push-pull crown. And you've got pushes at the 2 and 4. Just also there. The bracelet, I think, is done pretty well, to be honest, for the price. Like I said, £60 watch. They've had a real go at a bit of engineering. Nice, and it does the job, doesn't it? There's no links that are stiffer than you'd like. It plays with the light nicely, even though it's all brushed and is articulated very well. The clasp is a butterfly clasp signed with Megalith on there also, and there's a push and it opens up nicely. I'd say that's milled probably, but yeah, probably not very expensive. But yeah, that's the clasp. The crystal covering the dial is interesting actually. Sapphire crystal. So you've got a Seiko movement and sapphire crystal on a chronograph watch that's homaging obviously a more expensive watch. But yeah, sapphire crystal, very nice to see. The water resistance you would have made out on the case back just a moment ago. It's 100 meters, so that gives you 10 atmospheres of water resistance, and the weight will appear in the top right hand corner. It's just above 140 grams with 7 links removed. With those 7 links back in, you're probably looking at mid to late 150. So nice bit of heft for the size, probably about where it should be, given it's not a really small watch. But let's have a look at the dial now, guys, in a bit more detail. So what you've got is you've got a railway track, a minute track going around the outer edge. Inside of that, you've got applied battens everywhere, smaller at the 12, 3, 6 and 9 really, although you've got a double batten at the 12. It is slightly smaller at those positions, given at the 3 they're making way for where they put Megalith chronograph that's printed onto the dial, and then the 6, 9 and 12 making way for the sub dials, which we'll run through in a moment. There is loom on this watch, which I'll bring up now. Not bad actually. The loom is pretty decent. Not bad, neither good, but for the price I wasn't expecting the earth. So yeah, the loom is reasonable. No real complaints there. The hands and indices all high polished and done well, to be honest. Applied nicely in terms of where they are. None of them are crooked, which you get sometimes at quite affordable watches on AliExpress, which is good to see. The crown, so the crown is push-pull. The pushers are screwed down, so I'll unscrew them. The pusher at the 12 will activate the chronograph. As you can see, there's it counts down in both places. Yeah, so you've got the seconds down there. This will be the minutes, so I'll leave it go for just a little bit longer so you can see that. You've got the date at the 4:30 position-ish. It's not quite straight. I don't know if you can make that out on the video. It's a bit too far to the right, or the date border probably is just a bit too small. It could have done with being slightly bigger, because you can't see sort of the right side of the date, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, nice blue. There's a few other colour variations which I'll bring up a bit later near the end of the video, so you can have a look at which one's more in keeping with your taste. But the blue one was the one I really wanted to look at. I think it looks nice. It's not. I wouldn't say it's too sunburst, but in certain places and lights, it does play nicely. But yeah, it looks very, very nice. As I say, I was quite impressed. The sub dials are finished nicely. The hands are done everywhere really well. As you can see, the sub dial at 12 has stopped now where it's got to a minute. As you can see, that's moved over by 1. If I press the button 2 and reset it, it will go back. And there you go. That's it reset. And if I take the crown out, obviously I can change the time. So we'll put it to 8:20, which is quite often where I go. Put it back in, it will start back up again. And if you want to change the date, take it out to the first position, and you can change the date, and off you go. But that's the watch, guys. That's the loom, that's the hands, that's the movement. Let me just pop it on the wrist quickly, give you an idea of what it looks like on my wrist. Given that the links are quite thin, obviously I took 7 links out, but I think you are gonna be able to get a good fit with this, given the links are not too thick. That's what it looks like as you put it on, and that's what it looks like on my wrist. Nice, isn't it? Like I said, for 60 quid, it looks like a whole lot of watch, doesn't it? I think it's one that at this point is looking quite good. Let me just give it a quick wipe, and then that will take me on to what I think is pants and Pukka about the watch. If you've ever watched before, you know I always start with pants. I like to go on a high with Pukka. So what I think is pants is you're probably going to make it out now. It's not so bad on from between the 12 and 6, but then the 6 back up to 12, it doesn't hit really any markers. It's almost completely off everywhere, which is a bit of a shame. Maybe nitpicking given the price, but I do like on sort of quartz pieces the second hand to line up a bit better than that. The date window, yeah, I've already mentioned it. When it's like this, is not so bad. As soon as you move into sort of double digits like this, you'll see it sort of needs to be a little bit more open on the right hand side of the date window, so maybe a mil cut out a bit further towards us. That would have been good. And the lug to lug, I know it's a common problem with these types of watches, a bit too long, but yeah, sort of just over 52 mil long, like length of the watch. Lug to lug is a bit too much for me. I'd like it to be a bit brought in from there. So just to surmise what I think is pants, I'll just go with those three things: is the second hand alignment, the date window, and the lug to lug. What I think is Pukka, quite a bit more actually, not a bad little watch, or I wouldn't say it's too little, is it? Is a sapphire crystal. Yeah, the sapphire crystal is a nice touch at this price point. The movement, yeah, Seiko VD57 movement. When you're getting a Seiko movement inside your watch, you know what you're getting. It's a nice, reliable workhorse. The dial, as I've said, with the blue sort of sunburst E type dial, I think that looks pretty good. The hands and indices, in terms of how they're applied, they're all high polished, they're finished nicely. So that's nice. The bracelet actually did surprise me. I was expecting it to feel really unfinished and sharp, but it just doesn't. It just feels pretty good, and it was a good effort for the price, if I'm honest. And yeah, finally the price. You'd have to mention the price, given the RRP on the Megalith official store is £60. I dare say with coupons and stuff you can get that in a little bit cheaper, but 60 quid for this watch, yeah, not bad at all. So just to surmise what I think is Pukka, is I'll go with the sapphire crystal, the movement, dial, hands and indices, bracelet, and price are what I think is Pukka. And would I recommend the watch? Was I right to recommend this on my AliExpress sale video? Yeah, I would actually. I think for £60, given the price is really creeping up on AliExpress, I think 60 quid represents outstanding value for money with this watch. With the movement you're getting, with the sort of finishing they've gone for, the movement, the hands, yeah, I think there's a lot to like. So I would recommend this watch, guys and girls. But please let me know what you think about this watch, and maybe any other watches you'd like me to review on the channel. And as always say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and always watch the time. Take care, guys. All the very best.